The GallowgateShots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the GallowgateShots YouTube and podcast channel. We are back with the penultimate match preview of the season. It is the second but last game of the season for everybody to enjoy. It is Arsenal away, and I am your host. I'm back for this one. Sorry, I did have to leave you for the kit release video or the kit launch video, the whatever it is, the leak video. But it's Scott back. I'm here with Daryl, Joe and Nichol. Boys, 2 games left. Probably 2 of the most important games of the season, barring the top that's over Nichol's shoulder, the winner's 25. We use this in the audio. But probably one of the most important games of this season. It is the Arsenal away. It is probably crunch time when it comes to deciding who gets Champions League football. How are we feeling before we get into any of the givens, any of the stuff that we normally do at the start of this? Are we confident? Are we going to do it? Daryl, mate, where's your head? Where are you at?
Do you know what it is? I am confident that we'll do it, and I'm actually fairly relaxed. Certainly going into the game on Sunday. I don't know why, but I am I'm just going with a bit of the flow here. And you know, what will be. It's in our own hands. It's, you know, it's up to us to do it. And as long as the lads perform, we'll be absolutely fine.
It is in our own hands. It is. Joe, mate, so are you of the opinion that we're going to do it and we're going to fall with style, as they say? Are we going to do it in style? We're going to finish second, or are we going to do it and we're going to, you know, scrape it, as they say, and maybe finish 5th on goal difference? With a bit of luck, a little bit of luck, as DJ Luck and MC Niche once said. And if you don't know what that is, ask your dad, because he would have been screaming in the garage club in the late 90s. But yeah, how do you think it's going to go down?
Yeah, you have used the word the number 2 a lot, or second, because it feels like it's that carrot that's just dangling right in front of us, and it's so close. We are literally 1 game away, so close to an unprecedented quadruple against Arsenal, which is absolutely mental to me. The Emirates especially has always been a hunting ground that, I mean, we all know has been notoriously shit for Newcastle. Whether we went there, we've lost there 7-3, we've been battered 4-0, 2-0, whatever it might be. It feels like it used to be a ground that, like Old Trafford once upon a time, that was just a complete free hit that you pretty much discarded almost before it even began. Now, it's been 1 game. It was in the League Cup, but we have beaten Arsenal 3 times this season, and that is not to be, you know, sniffed at. Yes, it's a Premier League. Yes, it's a different kettle of fish. Yes, they do have Saka back, but they do have their problems, and we've exposed them multiple times this season. It's a mentality thing, and we are able to now go to that ground at the second last game of the season with almost, I don't want to say no pressure on us, because obviously it is really tight at the top, but we are 3 points ahead of our competitors. We have the ability for a hiccup, for a slip, and still be okay. Whereas Arsenal, they've exited the Champions League. They've stumbled in the title race. The pressure's on them to maintain second, to, at the very least, keep a bit of respect and a bit of dignity to see out their season. The pressure's on them, so we can go to this ground with confidence and belief that we can actually take the game to them, which is absolutely phenomenal. So I think, you know, I go into this game, you know, like as Daryl said, excited, a bit calm. You know, at the end of the day, it's not quite a free hit, but the pressure's off a little bit. We can do some damage, so why not? Let's just go for it.
Yeah, Nicholas, is this one of those potential banana skins where seasons have passed where we've been the one to, ruin the Arsenal party, as it will be at the end of the season? Famous documentaries have shown where we've seen Arteta in our changing room, kicking buckets and all sorts. But this has the potential where they could be the ruiners of our party, shall it be, and be the ones who put a dampener on the end of our season. Or could it be the flip of that? I mean, I'm asking the same question all three years, but in different ways. Yeah, but could it be the other, the flip of that, where we put a dampener on their season, and actually, Joe, you said they've got no pressure, but they could still finish outside the top 5 here. Let's not forget.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The pressure is on them. The pressure is on them. The pressure's kind of off us.
Southampton last game of the season, but we saw what happened to Man City only last week against Southampton. So what's your opinions on it? Where do you think it could go?
Although it is funny that they could finish outside the top 5, they're not going to, are they? They're not going to. They're going to finish in a Champions League spot, and it's their last home game of the season, so they are going to want to perform in front of their own fans because they've got Southampton away on the last day. So this is their last home game, so they're going to want to perform for that. But I'm probably like the other two, pretty calm. I think the pressure's off. I think I seen somebody say last week that, but in years gone by, we used to be in the relegation battle. So let's just enjoy. Let's just enjoy these games that we have. We're fighting towards the top end of the table. I think we're going to do it. On the last week's podcast, we said if we beat Chelsea, we're all going to be 85-90% confident of Champions League. I'm probably like 85-90%. I think if we get a point at Arsenal, then we've done it. I think we've done it already. But if we can do the quadruple over them, what a season that would be. And
just season already is.
I mean, yeah, but just
I take your point though. Like it's the fact that second is in our hands. Like it is in our
mental,
hands.
Isn't it? It's mental.
Which is it is a bit of it is a sort of crazy position to be in, given that we are third at the moment. Yet second is in our hands. Like 2 games left of the season. It's so strange, and I mean we've seen. Sorry, just to kind of hijack this your point there, Nichol. But looking at the statistics, I'm pretty sure we are only second to Liverpool over the last 19-20 games in terms of the points accumulated. That's scary, like scarily good. Obviously, I know when we've lost like big time, but I just find it interesting if you look at the actual table itself. I don't have the actual things, but I think we've lost 10 games this season, right? And Arsenal have lost 3. I think it's 3.
Well, we're about to get into all that, so we can talk about that in a minute.
Right. Okay, so just to quickly make me point. Yeah, when we've lost games hard, but we do tend to have the ability to see a lot of games through, whereas Arsenal, as I'm sure you're about to get on, draw a hell of a lot of games, which has been their downfall.
Yeah.
So go on, Scott. That's me. That's me giving you that.
Should we get into it? Should we go?
That's me going.
What a link.
So yeah, what a tedious link that was. No, Sunday, 18th March, it's a 4:30 kickoff at the Emirates. It's live on Sky. It's not the last game on Sky, though, is it? Is the Everton game on Sky as well, Daryl? Do you know?
They haven't announced them yet. Those games will be announced at some point this week, I think, or early next week.
Right. I was going to say they'll definitely show Chelsea Forest. That one will definitely be on the TV.
Yeah, Chelsea Forest definitely. Yeah. Well, fingers crossed it's not the last one on Sky, but it could potentially be the last one on Sky this season. I know they're banging on about how they've got over 200 games next season, but yes. Yeah. Arsenal, they're second in the league on 68 points. They have 18 wins, so they've got less wins than us. But as Joe was alluding to just before there, they are draw merchants this season, 14 draws, but only 4 defeats. So, that's why they are where they are in the league. 66 goals scored, 33 goals conceded. And if you can't work that one out, that puts them on a plus 33. So there you go. And I do have some commentator stats for you. Here we go. Arsenal have lost just 1 of their last 20 Premier League home games against Newcastle. That's 17 wins and 2 draws, winning 11 of their last 12. 1 draw since a 1-0 loss in November 2010. Remember, that's Premier League. We did do them in the the Carabao Cup this season. Following their 1-0 win at St James's Park in November, Newcastle are looking to complete their first league double over Arsenal since 1994 and 1995. And Newcastle have won 3 games against Arsenal this season, in 1-0 in the Premier League, 2-0 in both legs of the League Cup. No team has ever beaten the Gunners 4 times in a single campaign. So we would be the first team ever to do that. Newcastle have won 5 of the last 8 meetings with Arsenal in all competitions, drew 1, lost 2, as many as they had in their previous 52 against the Gunners. There was 11 draws and 36 defeats. And Arsenal have only lost their final home league game in one of the last 27 seasons. So 22 wins and 4 draws. And that was going down 2-1 against Aston Villa in 2010 to 2011. The only time in their final home game of a league campaign was against Newcastle was in 96 and 97, where they did lose thanks to who scored? Juan, who scored it? Somebody? Anybody? 96, 97.
Beasley and Shearer.
No. If he said no, it's still going to be no.
I think at the same time.
It's Robbie Elliott. Robbie Elliott goal is the win.
Really?
So then, considering the last time we played them in the last game of the season, or the last home game of their season, and we won, we're going to do it 1-0. Thanks for watching. See you next time. No, I did that last time, and yeah, we'll not do that again. Little mate, I'm going to come back to you on this one. We saw Mikel Merino getting 2 yellow cards in the last game. Not that he's been performing that well against us of late anyway, when he's played for Arsenal. There's also I think it's quite a high chance actually that Declan Rice could also be out with this with injury, if I'm recalling correctly. We all know about our midfield. We've seen Joe Linton back from Brazil. He's wearing the same top that Joe has on right now. If Joe Linton's, we don't know if he's fit. We're not expecting him to be fit, but Eddie Howe said, expect the unexpected when it comes to Joe Linton. Could this be a game where we win this midfield, and that's how we win this game, by overpowering them because they're lacking a little bit in that midfield? Or do you think they still have players on the bench that can come on and do a bit of damage to them? We need to be very careful here.
Well, I think our midfield is our strongest point, really, isn't it? Out of all the positions. So we're going to try and overpower any team, really, and it's been our success. You saw last week against Chelsea, the high press from Tonali, winning it back. That's kind of what Joe Linton is kind of known for in that press. But, I mean, if he can come back as well, I'm not expecting him in the starting 11. Even if he's on the bench, it would be brilliant. But, yeah, if not, we had a bit of a change in formation, didn't we, last week? So I'm not sure if we'll see. Not sure if we'll see that again. I don't know if Willock might be back for this one. I'm sure he'll want to play against Arsenal. But I also saw this week that Martinelli was hobbling off in training. So there could be another one injured for them. But if they've not got Declan Rice, he's their sort of main man in midfield, isn't he? So if they haven't got him, then I would be confident that our midfield can overrun theirs. Because I think it would be maybe Jorginho coming in for him as the next backup, I would say. So yeah, I would be confident of our midfield, and if we can do that high press that we've done against them already 3 times this season, I'm sure we can get some goals.
Yeah, Daryl, as Nichol mentioned, obviously we saw not huge change, but we saw a formation and a system change against Chelsea at the weekend.
Yeah.
It then changed back midway through the game to kind of what we've been used to for the season. But do you think that system change, one, was a little bit of a forced hand? You know, we talked a little bit about it on the pre-match show that we did on Sunday morning, but also a little bit of preparation for this game, do you think? Because we have played that system against Arsenal in the League Cup earlier this season. Do you think it was a bit of both? Do you think we'll see it again this week, or do you think it'll be back to, you know, what we know and love with the 4-4-3, the 4-3-3? We're not playing 12 men.
4-4-3.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to see the return of that system last week. I think it worked out quite well in the end, obviously with the result as well. On top of that, even though we did struggle when Chelsea went down to 10 men, I think it would be wise of us to adopt the system again for Sunday, given the success we had with it in the EFL Cup semi-final. And you have to remember that even in that game, we ended up, what was it, 5-5-0? It was the formation in the end.
Miggy's last
you know,
contribution to the club.
So it wouldn't be a surprise to me at all if we saw that system back in action on Sunday. And I think, to be honest, if it gets us the same result, then you would definitely see it as a no-brainer and put that in. It's interesting to talk there about the midfield, and I know Nichol mentioned Jorginho there, but if Jorginho was available, would we not have seen him when Partey was out? Because I think Partey would be the natural one to come into that midfield to replace Declan Rice. And I thought, you know, I haven't really seen hide nor hair of Jorginho in any squads recently, so maybe he's out as well. So the more Arsenal players that want to miss this game, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, just send a couple of kids out and we'll just rock up and take the 3 points and go home and finish second.
Yeah, Joe, I think it's obviously we've got to show a bit of Arsenal a little bit of respect. They are more than just a couple of players. They do have players up and down the pitch that can hurt with. And they've got very good defenders as well. You know, the Saliba's now back and he seems to be, you know, shook off that injury like it was nothing, and he seems to be back and back to his best, really. So we've got to be careful there, and you know, we've got to be wary of him. Obviously, when Isak has played against him this season, he's played against him like he's not there, but he'll be wanting to make a bit of amends for those performances in previous games this season. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's interesting you mentioned there about Isak, because we've said for a while that there's something not quite right with him. You know, this is a game where we really need him on top form to deal with the defenders, be on the last man, you know, give them the run around, and we've not seen that as of late with them. So does that mean, you know, you have to have the likes of Gordon and Barnes and Murphy, you know, whichever are on the wings to step up and to try and take that mantle? Probably, you know, the creativity from midfield as good as, like, you know, Tonali and Bruno are. They aren't the kind of players that the flair players that are gonna, you know, put defenders on the ground. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Isak is like, because if he's still the same player that we've seen for the last few weeks, then you're probably thinking that he's going to have an operation or something in the summer, because there's something clearly not right, that he's not shaken off. But Arsenal, yeah, they will be looking to certainly be a bit more defensively resolute. They've had 3 goes to attempt it, so you'd like to think that Arteta will look at this game with a bit more experience and a bit more guys than he had done previously. But having said all that, I think we've played 2 different formations against them, if I remember. In the semi-final, did we play 5 at the back both times, or was it 4 at the back for one of them? I can't remember.
I think the 4 at home and 5 away.
4 at home, yeah.
Right. Okay. So we played 4 at the back against them twice, and we played 5 back against them once. So realistically, they don't really know where we're going to be coming from. I think the 5 at the back could work well. Sorry to go on a little bit off topic here, but I think the 5 at the back could work well again, because we've shown that it worked really well against Chelsea and dealing with Palmer. But again, if Willock's fit, then he might think, "Oh, I want him in midfield." But going back to Arsenal's defense, yeah, I mean, they are still good. They are still resolute. They are lacking a little bit up top, though, as well, which is something that we're probably going to get into in more detail. So whilst they might be decent at the back, up front, they're a bit toothless. So I think, you know, it's about dealing with the midfield more than anything else.
Yeah, well, I mean, that does come up to the striker situation at Arsenal. Obviously, their top striker is obviously not going to be available for them, Nichol, because he's playing for us. He's going to be back on, you know, if Sky had their way, he wouldn't be. But no, obviously, you know, the person who has been playing up front for them or been filling in that role, Mourinho, we talked about earlier, he's had 2 bookings, he's off. So, you know, we've already alluded to him playing in centre midfield, but he has also been slotting in a little bit of centre forward when the likes of Martinelli, the likes of even Gabriel Jesus and Havertz have been out and not been playing. So it does beg to, you know, the question is there to say, what on earth are they going to do for a striker? Or are they going to go like the famous Spanish team, was it, of Euro 2000, where they go with just all false nines and no striker, and they don't play anyone up front? how do they approach this game? Who knows?
I don't know. I think that's what they might have to do. They have to do the false nine. I'm not sure who would play at mind. I'm thinking it would have to be Saka or Odegaard, or they've got Ethan Neweri.
Yeah, I mean
Trossard.
Trossard against Liverpool.
To be fair. Yeah.
So Liverpool, they had a front three of Martinelli, Trossard, and Saka. But
all right,
but Mourinho was in midfield and he went off. So
it could be Saka, Trossard, and Neweri. Then up front is the three. Is what I would have a guess at, because he kind of comes on for the last 15-20 minutes of what games I've watched with them. He's been on the Champions League and stuff, and he's a good young player, to be fair. So they might give him the chance. It's, as you've said,
Sterling as well. Sterling.
Oh God, he never gets a game anymore, really, does he?
Well, yeah, times are tough over at the Emirates. Like, they're running short on options.
If I was to have to guess, that would be the front three I would go to for them. But yeah, it's looking difficult for them at the front end of the pitch, and that's only a good thing for us. So
I think it's important as well to remember that as dangerous a player that Martin Odegaard is, he's actually been really off the beat recently.
He has, yeah.
I've seen a couple of games, and all the things the pundits have said when you've been watching them on TV is that there's something not right with Odegaard. He's been really off of his game. His product isn't what it normally is. His sharpness isn't there. So he's got something going on as well. So if everything was to fall into place for us, we could really take advantage of this.
Yeah. The one thing
when it comes to Daryl. Oh, sorry. Go on, Nichol.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I'm thinking there, if they haven't got a real recognised striker, I don't know whether we will go 5 at the back, because obviously how took Botman off with like 60 minutes, didn't he, on last Sunday? I know he was icing something at half time, but he kind of said in his post match that he took them out because they'd lost Nicholas Jackson up front, so they needed someone in midfield more. So he might play Miley on Sunday.
Yeah, I think also that Botman substitution was a very planned substitution. That was probably going to happen 60 minutes, regardless, because it was his first start for 2 years almost now. It wasn't that long.
And he did brilliantly. He did brilliantly as well.
He did do brilliantly. That's going to be the conundrum, Daryl, for this game is who starts at centre-back. Because Botman looked fantastic at the weekend. You've got Dan Burn, who you cannot drop at the minute on his form, and you've got Fabian Schär, who you could argue you also can't drop. You might be forced to play 5 at the back just to keep them happy.
Absolutely. I think, again, that system will either keep everybody happy or it will upset one of the three. And to be honest, I think we can all agree that, that if it was to be a 2, then it's got to be Fabian and it's got to be Dan Burn just to keep that balance in the team. Yes, Sven is extremely good with both of his feet. However, you want, he's stronger on his left, so you want a right and a left footer as your centre back pair. And I think, as Dan Burn's form has been tremendous, and I think it's just not quite fair or right that he would be the one that would make way, like you say. And I think it's fun. It is an interesting conundrum to be in, and again, it's that old cliche of we're all glad we're not Eddie Howe because we don't have this headache. But I think it'll dictate, if he wants to play them all, then you'll see the back 5. If he thinks he can get away with the back 4, then he'll make that decision, and Sven will just take his place on the bench and be used as a sub.
I think a lot of that, Joe, might have to come down to Tino Livramento. We obviously seen him. I don't know what the hell he did to his knee, but he jarred it.
It was an awkward fall, wasn't it? It was really awkward fall.
It's proper rank,
and let's be honest, he didn't look the same after that throughout the entire game. He wasn't running to his full potential. He wasn't playing to his full potential. Obviously, we're recording this before Eddie Howe's press conference, so we don't know how bad that is, whether he's ran it off and he's shook it off and he's fine. But if he's not 100%, we've jested about this in the past, but we could see something where Dan Burn is now at left back and we've got Botman playing next to Fabian Schär because that's all we've got left. Because if Trippier's still out injured, we're going to be looking at Emil Kraft playing at right back, and that's going to be our back line. So we might be forced that hand. Could be.
I think with Tino, I think if it was that bad, he would have came off a lot earlier. And I reckon if it was going to be a really big injury, touch wood, I think we would have heard something by now. It's hard to say. Yeah, exactly. So you'd like to think that you'd be okay because we really do need him. We are absolutely bare. Like in a lot of places, we do have depth. Currently, fullback is not really one of them. So, I mean, I wouldn't be angry with Kraft coming in at right back. And God, if Dan Burn would have to go left back, I mean, I love him to bits. He's been our player of the season, but not left back, please. Please no.
I suppose it depends if Trippier's going to be back or not. Because if Trippier's back,
well, that's it. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, that's it. I mean, I read that we're still probably going to be without Trippier, Joelinton, and but I mean, God knows until Eddie Howe says anything. They might pass some late fitness tests, Joelinton aside. It's hard because he probably Dan Burn would be marking Saka, and I'm pretty sure that battle has actually not went too badly before from our perspective. He's done well against him in the past. But obviously, if in this magical hypothetical situation where Dan Burn ended up being left back at the Emirates, it would probably kill a lot of our momentum down the left-hand side, which is, not good, especially with us struggling on the left side of midfield too. But hopefully he's fine. I think, I mean, if I had to put some money on it, I would say Tino would start, and we'll probably see the same team against Chelsea work beautifully. So, yeah, fingers crossed, man. That's all we can do. That's all we hear from Eddie Howe. We're just second guessing.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, well, exactly. And it's the same every week. We're just second guessing.
Even after his presser, who knows? He's a man of illusion, is Mr. Howe.
He is. He tells more lies than Pinocchio, does that lad?
He doesn't strictly lie. He just deflects.
Oh, no, he definitely lies.
Yeah.
Let's guess what happens at the top of the pitch now, Nichol, shall we?
Yeah.
Obviously, Hobby Bonds didn't have the best of games at the weekend. I think we all saw that. But given the fact that we may need to still rely on Jacob Murphy playing right wing back, is it a case of we'll be keeping Harvey Bonds on the left and Gordon on the right, or was it Gordon on the right and Bonds on the left? I can't quite remember how it worked out now. But is that, would you stick with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what will happen. I think that's what they'll stick with. And they switched last week anyway. Definitely in the first half they were switching. But I think, like Botman, I think Gordon was a planned sub as well around the 60th minute. Because everyone in my block was, should have taken Barnes off, get Barnes off, man. Because he wasn't having his best game. And even people wanted Osula on the wing instead of him at one point. Well, I mean, I love Osula, nothing against you. But yeah, I think it'll be them too. So because I don't think he's got really any other option to play if he's playing Jacob Murphy at right wing back, which I think we've all said we'll think he'll probably play the same team as last week. So
I think again Bonds took a knock, didn't he? He had a clash of knees, which again didn't seem right after that through the game. I don't think he ever really shook it off.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's okay. We'll find out after the press conference, but hopefully no problems.
What I will say about him is he did a lot of good defensive work against Chelsea. He wasn't great going forward, but I feel like since he's come back in the team, he's got his confidence back, and he's like, we're giving him the ball more, and everyone's kind of expecting a bit more because he does run at people and sort of do his giving goals, and he always gets a shot off. To be fair,
he was almost playing as like a number 10 at times against Chelsea. Like the amount of times he was getting in between the lines, playing centrally, he was helping Isak out quite a lot, and obviously. It allowed Murphy to run up and attack the byline a lot more and get down the wing, and allowed Barnes to cut inside. So that that relationship actually worked quite nicely, and it does suit Barnes' game a lot more because he's a winger that cuts inside with his left foot. Takes a lot of shots. So it was quite nice to see at times. I know he struggled a bit in the second half, but I think some of the criticism that he had after the Chelsea game was maybe a bit harsh.
I think the problem with Bonds is at the minute he needs to still develop that partnership and understanding with Isak that Isak has with Murphy, and to an extent a little bit with Gordon. That's not quite there yet, and you could see not just the game at the weekend, but a few games of the past few weeks where Isak gets a little bit frustrated with Bonds. He doesn't quite do what Isak wants him to do with the ball. And you kind of see Isak, throw his arms up a little bit, or maybe he's talking to him. No, it's nothing bad, but they just need to maybe work on that partnership a bit more, because I think Isak's worked with Murphy and with Gordon a lot more than that.
Yeah, that happened in the first half against Chelsea as well. There was a bit where Barnes was going through and he could have laid it off to Isak and he kept going. It almost looked like he took the ball off Isak's toe at one point on the very edge of the box, but he just took an extra step and then hit it with his left. And you could see Isak was just stood there thinking, well, if you'd have given that to me, I might have had a better chance of putting it in. But I like the idea of that front three remaining the same because the flexibility of the three of them to play anywhere across the front line just opens up more opportunities on the pitch for everybody else.
Well, we've covered Arsenal. We've covered us. The next thing to cover is the man in the middle. Unfortunately,
We'll go back in time though.
Daryl's off it. No, Daryl wasn't supposed to be on this tonight, but he's been a late sub, and he did pre-record it, and he's decided he's not going to redo it, ladies and gentlemen. He's decided he's going to let us
happy with the
play
first take.
So here's Daryl from the past. He's got a nice fluorescent green jacket on as well. So here he is with this week's Ref Watch.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Ref Watch, this time for our penultimate Premier League game of the 2024-25 season against Arsenal at the Emirates. Referee for the game will be Simon Huber from Wiltshire. It's going to be his 5th Newcastle game of this season. That's after games versus Chelsea, which was a 2-1 away defeat, the 4-2 away defeat at Brentford, the 2-0 away win at Manchester United, like everybody else does these days, and also the 2-0 win at home against Arsenal in the second leg of that AFL Cup semi-final. He's had no VAR appointments with Newcastle this season, which is quite strange considering the number of referees that we have available to us. It's unusual for me anyway that I don't think we've seen him on VAR this season. The last time we saw him on VAR duty was way back in October of 2023 when he was on VAR for a 4-0 win against Crystal Palace. Now, his Premier League stats for the season are 23 games refereed. That's the 4th most out of all of the Group 1 referees available in the Premier League. Behind Anthony Taylor, who's top, our very own Michael Oliver. And I want to say, I can't remember the other one. Never mind. But he sits 4th in that table. And he's issued 110 yellow cards in those 23 games, issuing 2 reds as well. And he's awarded 5 penalties this season. Now, Arsenal have not lost a Premier League game that he has taken charge of this season. That's 2 wins and a draw. That AFL Cup semi-final second leg game is the only one that they have lost. So it's quite fitting that the game that they've lost this season comes against us in that competition. The VAR for the game will be Michael Salisbury. We've seen previously as referee in games against West Ham, which was a 1-0 away win, and the 3-0 home win against Ipswich just a few weeks ago. We've also seen him on VAR duty previously in games against Aston Villa in the Premier League. That was a 4-1 away defeat. However, he was also VAR prior to that in the first leg of the AFL Cup semi-final at Arsenal. Again, another 2-0 win for the Magpies. So there's some mixed fortunes in there. Overall, I'd probably say it fits in our favour slightly, especially when it comes to playing games against Arsenal this season, where I've seen them so much. So that's the boys in the middle and on VAR for the game on Sunday. And I'll chuck in a cheeky 1-1 prediction for Sunday. I think a point, I'll take it now. If you offered me the point, I'd take it straight away. So a 1-1 draw is my prediction for Sunday. Up the lads.
Just to caveat that, by the way, before you jump in, right? The missing name is Chris Kavanagh. He's the 3rd in the list for most games refereed.
I was going to ask you, you've got to...
I got that right. I got that
chance
sorted.
of redemption.
And obviously, I've just spoiled my own prediction there. So.
Well, are you sticking with that prediction, are you?
I am.
I was going to say, that's
yeah.
past Daryl, your present Daryl, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Sticking with a 1-1, and I'm not going to put Isak down as a scorer this time. I reckon the goal is going to come from defence, and I'm going to have Big Dan Burn on the score sheet for us.
Cool. There we are then. Well,
Spicy.
I mean, now that Daryl's spoiled the link, we may as well do the rest of our predictions. Joe, mate, what are you going to go for a prediction?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this quite a bit today because we've said Arsenal's lacking a lot up top. they've not really been able to score too much, and we've had 3 clean sheets against them already this season, which is absolutely mental. Like, we literally have a 5-0 aggregate score against them currently, which is crazy. However, the Emirates in the Premier League is always a very tough ask. And like I say, they do have Saka back, which is something that I think they had the first time we played them maybe, but not the 2 cup games. And he does make a big difference. So I'm going to say that we just fall short of the quadruple against them, but we still remain undefeated. And I'm going to concur with Daryl, and I'm going to say 1-1.
Good lad.
Looking at the table, I don't know how well that really serves us. It depends on how well the results go. I think, like,
Friday night's a big one. It's what happens on Friday night that's important.
Right. You know, yeah. At the end of the day, if we beat Everton, like, who gives a shit? It doesn't really matter. But, you know, I obviously for momentum, it's so important. But yeah, I think 1-1. I think that's probably about fair. If we can get 3 points, that would be absolutely class, though. As obviously get the quadruple done, hang that in the Louvre. Goal scorer. You know, I was actually thinking it probably makes sense that a set piece or something would do it for us. But I'll go a bit different. I'll say, you know what? I'm going to say a Fabian Schär free kick.
Ooh.
Wow. There we go. Fabian. So you were going for a Dan Burn goal scorer and Fabian Schär. You got to some bombing for your goal scorer, mate.
Nick Pope.
I've actually...
Nick Pope.
John Ruddy. Yeah. God, there's a lot of pessimism in here today, Joe. You know me. You know me. Like 5-0. How are the lads? We're gonna win. But no, he's been a bit pessimistic.
I'd say a draw at the Emirates is still positive. I could say 5-0 if that would make you happier.
No, well, I'm gonna go one step further. We're gonna win 2-1.
Good lad.
I've already had the goal scorers in my head. One of them is Fabian Schär. Don't know why. Just for someone different. And definitely, I would love Isak to score again against Arsenal because, as you said, Sky Sports is still banging this drum. It came on last night after that match that was on last night. You know, the one that someone scored a last minute goal in. Yeah, that one. Sky Sports News came on and it was Arteta likes Isak. I'm thinking, well, so does everybody. Doesn't mean you're going to get it.
I was going to say, I like Isak. Doesn't mean he sat in my front room.
So yeah,
I'm going to your way, Joe.
I might have to check. I can afford him. Just to keep us in the back garden.
Fabian Schär and Isak and Saka for them 2-1. I'm making the trip down as well, so I'm looking forward to it.
Good lad.
That's
the optimism. That's
where it's coming from. That's where it's coming from. So yeah, how will lads?
Nice. Yeah, I think we do scrape it. Like I think it'll be tough, but I think 1-0. I think we'll win 1-0. And I'm going for a Lewis Miley goal.
Ooh.
I think it's about time he got on the score sheet.
That'll be lush, that man.
Really? And yeah, I think it would be lush for Lewis Miley to secure Champions League football for her. Will be the icing on a very lovely 24 to 25 shaped cake.
Either Miley or Wilson. So I'd like to see Wilson get a goal before the end of the season because he's probably going to leave. He's not scored this season, right? And you know he's been a good servant for us. So I think if he could do one last contribution, that would be lush. Like,
see him.
Yeah,
maybe.
Problem is, if Wilson is like on the 4th minute because that's the only time he's getting on against Arsenal.
Yeah, straight into the corner.
Yeah, it'd have to be a late call, which I wouldn't like. But yeah, no, I think 1-0. I think we'll scrape it, but it will be scraping. By the way, I think it'll be. I think we might see a return of the 5-5-0. We might even see a 6-3-0 or a 10-0-0 come out.
Yeah, I was going to.
Question for Nichol.
Oh, can I just say my
question, mate?
Hang on.
Yeah, of course, go on. Yeah, okay.
I was going to say, like Wilson, out of sentiment, I would like to see Lascelles back at some point, but I think he'll come on against Everton at home.
Yeah.
It would if you're going to do 6 at the back, get Big Jamal on because he played 45 this week. So Yeah.
Mm.
And go away. Ask your question. Come on then. What's the?
I was just going to ask, how big is your water bottle that you're taking down? Because you might need it for collecting Arteta's tears at full time.
I'll make
Don't
sure
forget,
massive ones.
And don't forget, bring a couple of bars down. You know, you never know. It might be a bit weird. The ball might have a bit of a dodgy surface on it. You might need to have a couple of subs in there. So just to be on the safe side.
It might be that Carabao Cup ball, the Premier League ball, or the Champions League ball. It could be any of them. So, you know.
They're all dodgy.
They're all dodgy.
They're bottling all three competitions. So.
I was going to say, it doesn't need to take a bottle down. There's plenty down there already.
Hey!
Well, Arsenal fans, if you're watching,
cheers, Arsenal fans.
Let me know in the comments below how is this season going. I'm sure you're not loving it, but you know you're second at the moment. I'm saying at the moment because we're coming for you.
At the moment,
we're going to take that. We're going to take that second position spot.
I would love it
so
if
we've
we
got
beat
it
them.
in 2 games and it's done. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, there is. We are playing you. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think, how you think the game's going to go, what you think your predictions are going to be. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, please. It'll put this video in the feeds of everybody else who's an Arsenal fan, who's a Newcastle fan, anybody there. And Newcastle fans watching this, how meant is this season been, man? Let me know. Come on, comments below. And if you can't think of anything to say, all I want is just the thumbs up emoji. And just comment that down in the comments below. Any engagement, just get this video in as much people's feeds as possible. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos go live. Chris and Decker have just done a video that's gone live on the channel today about the new crest.
Absolutely fantastic.
New crest, possibly. Nah, I don't think so. Maybe it'll be something different.
Beyond the lines too. Beyond the lines too.
Yep, there's a Beyond the Lines that Matty's done with an Arsenal fan. There's a kit video that me and Chris did last week. And also, if you don't get to go to the games, and this one's an away game, so you'll not a lot of people will get to it. Roger, myself, and special guests every week are now doing a pre-match show called Hey Ho, Let's Go. I wonder where we got the name for that one. An hour before kickoff. Check it out live on YouTube. We'll just do another little mini preview like this, but we'll go over the named lineups, how we think it's going to go. It's a bit of a laugh. You know what Roger's like. It's a bit of a laugh. But yeah, join me for an hour before kickoff and then go and watch the game. But we don't do watch-alongs. We'll leave that to the Always Smiling Faces lot if they want to do that. But yeah, it's worth checking out. So all that on the channel and a lot more, and tons coming in pre-season as well. So give us a follow, give us a like, and give us a subscribe. And if you want to go one step further, you can become a member, get your early access to videos like this one, as well as exclusive content and access to the Telegram group. And I keep forgetting to do this on these videos, so I'm going to do it for this one. If you're listening on audio, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, whatever it is, just give it 5 stars. That's all we ask for. Right. Housekeeping
that was beautiful,
is done.
Scott. Well done.
There's three words to close it off there, right?
Newcastle
over the soldier.
All right.
No, that one. Get into them. Get into them. Get into them. That's what we're going to do on Sunday.
That is what we're going to do on
Daryl.
Sunday. Yes. Yes. Well, we will leave you with that. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one for the last match preview of the season. Unless we do one for the next Arsenal game, which is in, where is it? Singapore?
What, do the quintuple? No, yeah. What's 5?
Yeah, we'll do 5.
It's 5. Yeah, 5 wins over.
I don't know what time of morning that one is. I don't think I'm still watching. But anyway, we'll see you next week for the Everton game. Ta-da.
Bye. There he is. Bye.